What's up, guys? It's the middle of the night. I was gonna do this actually even later. I was gonna do this around 2 in the morning my time, but you know, I'm bored, and I was like, I'm just go ahead and do it. And I just want to talk about some stuff with the Atari 5200 and play some games. There's quite a bit to go into. Where to begin? Where to begin? So I think I want to start off with a tribute to Dabney Coleman, which is a strange thing to say, probably, if you're not too familiar with the Atari 5200 and the relationship to how he's associated with this console, which is a very vague association, but it's something that stuck with me through the years. Let me, if you don't know who I'm talking about, let me bring this up here. So, Dabney Coleman passed away today. He was 92 years old. He was old when I was a kid, and he just got older. That's how that works. I don't know if you're aware of that, but it seems to work that way for everybody. Iconic dude. This guy was hilarious. He was so funny. He was in so many awesome movies. He played a lot of different types of characters. Kind of known for being like playing kind of a jerk. He played a jerk in a lot of different movies and different things. But he also played a hero, an imaginary hero, in a movie that stuck with me throughout the years called Cloak and Dagger. This was a movie that starred the kid from E.T., Henry Thomas. Cloak and Dagger was a really fun movie. It was sort of a spy thriller kind of thing, but set in the real world. And it was set in Texas, by the way. A lot of it happened in San Antonio. And the premise is that there's this cartridge, this Atari 5200 cartridge of Cloak and Dagger that has a bunch of secrets on it, a whole bunch of like secret information. And this cartridge is like the center of the movie. It's like, anyway, Dabney Coleman plays Henry Thomas's dad, but he also plays this imaginary hero character that it's just it's a really cool movie. It's kind of creepy, but it's also really cool. And there's some stuff in it that I don't want to spoil the movie for you, but it's a fun movie, especially when you were a kid and you're really into video games. And there's not too many movies around that time that had video games in them. So that was kind of interesting. By the way, this Cloak and Dagger game actually never came out for the 5200. It's a arcade game, and it's actually on the Atari 50 collection, so you can play it. But what they show in the movie was not actually running on a 5200. It was the arcade game. But anyway, Dabney Coleman, who I thought was really awesome in this movie, and it's, like I said, related to this console. He did pass away today. So here's to you, sir. I have very much enjoyed your movies. Very entertaining stuff. So let me welcome everybody to the chat that has showed up here in the middle of the night. Chris Courage joins us. What's up, Chris? We're going to be playing on a S-Video modded Atari 5200. And this is the only modded console that I own that Chris did not do. This was before I started. This was a whole mess. The reason this happened in the first place. But this is the reason I started thinking, okay, maybe I want to mod consoles. And I went to Chris and we did all the other stuff. I'll get into all that if you guys aren't familiar with the story. But let's just say it involved a lot of smoke and like terror. Like I thought I was burning down my apartment. There was a lot of stuff involved. We'll get into that later. Do not have Gremlins, Silverwings, unfortunately. I do have quite a few games, but and I've ordered some games that have not come in yet, but not a whole lot. And there's a few that I really want, but they're super expensive, and I just can't justify buying them. I mean, they're not insanely expensive, but they're pretty pricey. Baz fans hot hits. What's up, Baz? How you doing, man? Sobering says, nope, didn't follow Atari 5200. Nodding says, retro, let's go. Yes. EJ Hilt. That man played in one of my favorite childhood comedy movies, The Beverly Hillbillies. That's right. That's right. He did. Very true. Yeah, he did a bunch of movies. He did a bunch of movies of different kinds. He made this one movie that was really funny where he was a cop and he thought he was dying. So he was like rushing into every, like, hostage situation and all kinds of stuff without a bulletproof vest or no weapon, just trying to get killed on duty because he wanted to leave the insurance money to his family. Because I guess he had like a life insurance policy where he had to get killed on duty. And so he thought he was dying, but he actually wasn't dying. He just thought he was. And then he finds out later that he's not dying. It's a pretty good movie. I don't remember the name of that movie, but it was fun. Baz says 5200 never made it in the UK. Actually, 5200 was not very successful. It was a weird system. Only 1 million units sold, which I think that number might be a little inflated. I don't think it was even 1 million that were sold. But this is mine. I'll show you. I'll bring it. I mean, not that you really need to see, but it's sitting right here. It's humongous. It's giant. It's like a giant version of the 7800. 7800 is a smaller version of 5200. I guess that's a better way to say that. But it's gargantuan. It's huge. But it's beautiful. It's a beautiful console. It's just humongous. I mean, I don't know if you can see how big this is, but look at this. It's like, I mean, I don't know what to compare it to that you might. Here, an Xbox One controller. See how big this is? It's huge. It's huge. Huge. Anyway, back to what we were looking at. Yeah, Someone says, I saw a scene to that movie on YouTube. Yeah, I think most people have seen his movies or pieces of his movies and probably not even realize it because he's done so many. 92 years old, man. 5200 plays a mean game of Millipede. I don't have Millipede. I have Centipede. I don't have Millipede. So I just got, you saw my video earlier, I think probably. Just got Pitfall with the box and everything, which I normally don't care about the boxes and ordering. I don't care. This is cool, but I can't play this. And so I usually don't bother with this because it's just an extra expense and it's an extra bunch of stuff I have to keep up with and keep, from getting messed up. So I usually don't mess with boxes and completing box games and stuff. But I really have been wanting Pitfall for the 5200. It's quite a bit better than the 2600 or the Intellivision versions, which are basically the same. 5200 version's pretty good. I've been wanting it for a long time, and I saw it, and it was a decent price. It actually wasn't too bad, so I just bought it. And so now I have both of the Pitfalls for the 5200, Pitfall and Pitfall 2. That's pretty cool. I don't have a huge collection. I have about 30 games right now, and I have about 5 or 6 more that I've ordered that are not here yet. So, but there's only 69 retail games. 69. 69! EJ says, good to see you're in a better mood, Cyrus. Don't let people bring you down. Stay positive. Once in a while I get upset about stuff. It's usually, what gets me upset, I think, is when I don't know. if I feel like disappointed because I get my hopes up that relationships between people will be better or that people will behave more rationally and then it doesn't happen. I think that's what upsets me more than anything. Uh, you know, psychology with Cyrus. Yeah, when I was a kid, I think we all have had our experiences with people that, let's just say, negative. We've had negative experiences with people that we wanted to turn out positive and then it didn't. And I think that that's something that even now at this advanced age that I am at, it's still something that will bother me. So I get upset. But what can you do about it? Right. You're absolutely right. It is what it is. Everybody makes their choices and they have to decide who they are and whatever. So it is what it is. Silverwing says, I like Pitfall 2 better. You have just barely enough time to beat the first game. Yeah, I haven't really put that much time into it. I never knew about Pitfall 2 until just a few years ago. And so I haven't really spent a whole lot of time on it, but that is definitely one that I want to play more. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool game. It's not too bad. If 5200 is an interesting console, it's this console is literally an Atari computer. Like, I have an XEGS over there. It's put up. The XEGS games are visually identical to the 5200, and audio is identical, right? Now, there's some cosmetic changes they have to make because of the different inputs, and some of the 5200 versions are slightly different just because it's later released than the Atari computer. But for all intents and purposes, the Atari 5200 is an 8-bit computer. It's an Atari 800, but with analog control. So that makes a bigger difference than you might think. Because I have okay, if you play Pole Position or Missile Command or there's any number of, even this game right here that's running in the background, River Raid. So not every Atari 5200 game fully takes advantage of the analog on these sticks, but some of them do, and the ones that do, it actually makes a pretty big difference using this thing. You got to have a good one, and unfortunately, this being a super early 1981, 82 maybe version of analog, these things break, so it's tough to find good sticks. I do have two that are pretty good, so fortunately I've been able to really take advantage of that. And there's some games on here that use dual sticks also, which is pretty interesting, like Robotron 2084 and Space Dungeon, games like that. It's pretty awesome. So so there's a reason to own a 5200. Also, another thing I want to say is the picture processor on the 5200 puts out better colors. It really does. I've done some comparisons with my XEGS, and the colors are just better on the 5200. I don't know. I mean, I love my XEGS. It's awesome. But, I mean, I'm just being honest. 5200 looks a little bit better, even though it is the same basic stuff inside of it. So, yeah, I did have, I'll tell you how, I guess we could kind of go into my history a little bit with 5200 and why I care about it and why I think it's cool. Man, I love Dabney Coleman. He was awesome. That's from Cloak and Dagger. Cool outfit. He was awesome in that movie. Anyway, I'm going to get distracted here. Oh, I forgot he was in War Games. Wow. Forgot he was in that. He was so good. 92 years old. Wow. That's crazy. I'm glad that people are paying tribute to him though. That's good. Anyway, so I guess I can talk a little bit about my 5200 stuff, my experience with it. Kind of go into that a little bit. If you guys get super bored with anything I'm doing, I know that I know that I tend to drone on and on and on and talk and talk and talk. So if I get to be super boring, just say, "Cy, play a damn game. We're tired of hearing you yap." And I will not be offended. I've been called a lot of, I've been called out for my, my lack of energy sometimes when I get to talking about stuff. Anyway, I'm just going to go into stuff. So, the Atari 5200 is a strange console. Most people never had one, never even knew it existed. Its lifespan was like so short. And it was, there was a lot of things working against this console. It's a very fascinating system. So this was supposed to replace the Atari 2600. And when I say replace, I mean replace. Like, this was not immediately backwards compatible with the 2600. It does not have built-in backwards compatibility with the original Atari, which I think probably confused and pissed off people, right? And even though this does have the internal hardware of an Atari 8-bit computer, it won't play Atari 8-bit computer games either. Even though it has the same hardware, it won't play those games. So it has no backwards compatibility, which is very interesting. Silverwing says, didn't know it existed until 2000. Wow. And why would you? Why would you know it existed? Because it came and went like a ship in the night. It was a system that was not on people's radar and upset people. It upset people because nothing about it was compatible with any of the stuff. People had put a huge amount of investment in the 2600. They'd bought games, tons of games. They'd bought accessories. They bought all kinds of stuff. And literally nothing was backwards compatible. Like, none of the games, none of the controllers, nothing. It was a whole separate, brand new thing. And Atari just didn't get that they were going to piss people off with this idea, with this console. And the other thing is, the 5200, yes, it is better than the 2600, but it's not a whole amazing generation better than the 2600. It's not. It's really good, but it's not this super massive upgrade. It's about as good as a ColecoVision, I guess you could say. At least it can be, depending on how the games are done. It when the NES comes along, this thing looks like, chopped liver. This thing looks like yesterday's news. It just doesn't hold up to the next generation of stuff. The NES and the Master System come out and it's like, okay, guys, what are we doing? Baz says, I'm sure there was an adapter to play 2600. Well, that is true. At a later time, eventually, there was an adapter. I'm not sure if they show it on this Wikipedia article. But yeah, there was later on an adapter that you could buy that would play some 2600 games. Not all of them, but some of them. So yeah, there was something that could do that. But that was a whole another expense. And yeah, just like I said, it confused and pissed people off. And the controller is very different. I mean, look at this thing. This is way, way different than what people were used to. You know, it had all the buttons that you saw on the ColecoVision or the Intellivision consoles like that, but it had this analog stick, and it did have some cool stuff. The pause button, the reset button, all that. It actually had 4 buttons, 2 on this side, 2 on that side, which could be independent of each other. It did overlays too, which I don't actually own any overlays for my 5200. I haven't even found a single overlay in all the games that I bought. I don't have any overlays, but it's pretty cool. I do have this, but it doesn't work because something's messed up inside of it, and I don't know how to fix it. I tried to look it up and thought maybe there was a part I could replace, but it's not as simple as that apparently. So if I ever want to play the trackball, I'm going to have to buy another trackball probably, because I don't think I can actually fix that. I mean, unless you can fix this, like if you know how to do that. But otherwise, I think I'll probably have to just buy another one. They're not real expensive though. So yeah, because I would like to try that. My trackball works going left and right, but it won't go up and down. So anyway, EJ says, if I'm correct, could you use a Sega Genesis controller to replace the faulty joystick, or is that the 7800? It's not this. This is a totally different type of interface. It's a much bigger. This has the same size plug as a Neo Geo. So like I had bought some Neo Geo extension cables, extender cables, and they work on the 5200 also. Although a Neo Geo controller does not work on the 5200. And in fact, it's funny you said that because the Genesis controller will work on a 7800 for 2600 games, but not for 7800 games. It has to be wired differently than the Genesis controller. So you can use a Genesis controller, but it has to be modified. What I use on my 7800 is a NES style pad that's been designed to work on the 7800. But you can't use Master System controller, and you can't use a Genesis controller to play 7800 games, unfortunately. And none of them will work on the 5200. It's a little bit different. But the 5200 is pretty cool. So I never knew this thing existed at all. About 1990, I want to say 1995, I'm getting ready to get a PlayStation. And some relatives bring a box to me. Some really cool relatives of mine. And it's like, hey, this guy's gone off to college. He's grown. He doesn't care about this stuff anymore. We're going to throw it out. But, you know, we know that you like video games. Do you want this? And I was so confused because I'd never heard of the Atari 5200. Never. And I looked at it, and I looked at it was huge, and these controllers, and I'm like, what the hell is this? But it had Pac-Man. It had a few games that I saw that I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it off your hands. And I couldn't figure out how to get the damn thing. I had to really look at it and figure out how to set this thing up, because this thing had this weird, I'll show you this. This is a box that contained a replacement for the RF switch box. I'll show you. Let me bring this up again. This is a new one that I had to buy, which I'll go into that in a minute. You probably know the story, but let's just say fire and smoke, you know. But this is what the thing looked like. You plug the power into this box, into this switch box, and you plugged this into the TV, and then it ran a wire, an RCA style wire that was hardwired into the bottom of the console into this thing. And then when you turn the system on, it would automatically switch to come on your TV, because you could plug your cable into this, like your cable TV into the back of this. So it was like an automatic switcher. And I'll tell you this is weird. Not every 5200 model did this. Some of them did it a little differently. The 2-port models did things a little differently. But the 4-port models, the original ones, this is what they did. It's very strange. But I'll tell you this thing puts out a freaking good signal. Put out a really good signal. But it was finicky and it would break, and there was a spark that would shoot out when you put the wire in. It was like people thought maybe it was a fire hazard. Maybe it was. But anyway, I got it all hooked up and I played, and I was like, I was mesmerized because I was playing pole position on this thing, and I'd never experienced an analog controller on a console. We had analog controllers on our computers, but they weren't very good at all. They weren't good. This was a different kind of analog than what I had experienced before. So I was very interested. I was captivated by, moving in pole position and missile command. I could do move it around like it was a mouse on the screen. It was so interesting. It's so different. Chris says, I forgot about that goofy power setup for the 5200. Yeah. I'll never forget. Anyway. So I wasn't super into like older games at that point. So it was just kind of a fun, weird thing that I had to figure out. I had to experience. But I really enjoyed it. I played Centipede on it. I played a few games. I think they gave me like 6 or 7 games, maybe. Not a whole lot, but a few. Some of the good ones. So I did play it quite a bit, but it ended up breaking. It ended up, this little box was finicky, and I couldn't get it. There was like loose stuff, and it wouldn't work right. And then the controller started to mess up, and so I just kind of put it all in a box, and I don't even know what happened. I couldn't even tell you what happened to that damn console. I don't know what happened to it. I think I took it apart and looked at it and never put it back together the right way. Because I used to take everything apart and just look at it and see like what was going on, because I was curious about electronics and stuff. So I just, whatever, moved on, didn't really think about it. But I did have a good experience with it, so it left an impression. It left a good impression. I've got River Raid running. I'm going to have it run while I continue to talk about stuff. We'll just have that run. Okay. So, I let the Master System thing up there. My bad. Let me get rid of that. It's not Master System. I guess it was around 2013, maybe 2014, maybe. So quite a while after all this. So 20 years later, basically. I'm working. I'm a supervisor at a warehouse. And I get into discussions with people about different things. We like to talk about stuff, and we're really into video games. Like, I've got some friends that I work with, and we would play Call of Duty, the different Call of Duties. We actually tried to start up a little Call of Duty league. We were really into it back then. I actually used to be pretty damn good at Call of Duty. It was a long time ago. So we talk about games and stuff all the time. And this friend of mine named Noe, which, really great guy, still to this day. My brother, he still works where I used to work, and he talks to Noe, and they talk about all kinds of stuff. And when I can, I catch up with Noe here and there. He's a really good guy. Good friend of mine. Not just somebody you work with. It's funny, sometimes you make good friends at work, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you never speak to people again after you leave a job. But I would consider him a good friend of mine. Anyway, so we're talking about stuff, and Noe's talking about things, and he's like, oh man, I know this guy, and he's having this garage sale, and he's selling this Atari. And he goes, I'm thinking about buying it. And I was like, oh, an Atari. Wow. I haven't seen an Atari in forever. At this point, I'm not really into retro gaming. Like, I'm working all the time, really not playing any games other than like Call of Duty and a couple others on like PlayStation 4 or PS3 at that point, maybe PS4 or something. I don't know. It was in that ballpark. But he's like talking to me. Yeah, he's like, I just bought a Nintendo, man. I'm like, you bought a Nintendo? He's like, yeah, I bought an NES and Nintendo, and I got some games. I was playing Super Mario Brothers 3, and I was like, oh, wow. Cool. So we just started talking about retro stuff, and I started thinking, man, I do miss playing retro games. You know, I have emulators, but I never really found a good way to enjoy that how I wanted to. It wasn't really, just wasn't as enjoyable. It's never been that enjoyable to me. Emulators were always a fascination, but like once I got it all set up, I'm just kind of like, I don't really want to do this. That's always been the case with me and emulators. But anyway, so we're talking about the Atari stuff, and he's like, yeah, I'm thinking about buying it from this guy. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, I'm going to go look at it. So he goes and looks at it, and he's like, I'm not buying that. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I don't know what the hell that was. He said it was an Atari. I ain't never seen nothing like that. I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, it turns out it was Atari 5200. And no, it was like, I don't know about all that. He's trying to show it to me, and I'm just like, this looks like a hassle, and I'm not messing with this. And I was like, at that point, he said 5200, and I was like, huh, that sounds interesting. That reminded me, obviously I remembered the one that I had for a short time that I got from relatives and stuff. And I was like, well, tell me about it. And he's like, oh, you interested? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe, like, tell me about it. And he's like, yeah, he's got a whole bunch of games, and he's got all the controllers and all this stuff. And, I'm like, does it work? And he's like, yeah, it works. He hooked it up and showed it to me and everything. He's like, I just don't understand all that, and I don't want to mess with that. He's like, that's not the Atari that I wanted. And so anyway, I went out to this guy's place. And yeah, he had a whole box full of this stuff, and I picked up the 5200. And I got it home, got it all set up, and got back into retro gaming. And that was sort of like the Trojan horse that led me into the place that I'm at now, the retro gaming renaissance that took place with me. It was Atari 5200 that pretty much caused that. So anyway, I had that 5200 for a long time, and it was finicky like they always are with these little boxes, right? So I was always messing with them. One day, I set this thing up, and I got all these retro consoles all set up and everything. I'm pretty happy with my stuff. I got some good stuff. Got a TurboGrafx 16 with the TurboGrafx CD. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting the consoles that I really love. This is awesome. So anyway, I go to hook up my 5200, and I plug the power brick into the little box, and I go to turn it on. It doesn't turn on. And I'm like, well, that's weird. And I smelled something, and black smoke just starts shooting out of that thing, because I had accidentally plugged the TurboGrafx power adapter into my Atari 5200 TV box, and that was not good. That was not good. But I quickly, got everything, pulled the wires out of everything, and cleared the smoke out. Fire alarm did not go off, thank God. But yeah, I was very disappointed in what I had done. And I thought I'd ruined my TurboGrafx power adapter, which I thankfully did not. I thought I had ruined a lot of stuff, and, couldn't get it to turn back on. It wasn't good. So I figured I had just ruined my 5200. So I was like, you know what? I guess I'm just going to have to, I was thinking for a long time about, maybe I would mod the 5200 because it was the one console that had this weird power situation and all this. And I'm like, sick and tired of messing with this RF stuff. But because this happened, I'm like, well, I guess this is my opportunity to just buy a modded Atari 5200. I saw one on eBay that I liked, and I bought it. And that's this one that's right here. And he did like a blue LED light, and it has S-video and composite, which composite's running over there to that TV, and S-video is running to the capture. So you're actually seeing two different outputs coming out of this console. It's not like getting super hot or anything. It's handling it very well. But when I got this, I went to turn it on, and I couldn't get it to turn on. And I was like, what the hell's going on? So he had sold it to me, and it didn't come with a power brick. Okay? The power brick that I had from my other Atari 5200, I was trying to use on this one. And apparently I had ruined that power brick. I still am not 100% sure how this all happened, but that power brick stopped working. So I bought another power brick off of eBay, plugged it into this, and it worked fine. I was like, okay, well, it works. And, for my other console, I had bought this. I bought a new one of these. But before I decided to do this, I bought a new one of these because I thought maybe I could get it to work. Maybe I could save the console. Maybe the only thing that was actually messed up was this box. So I had bought a new one of these. That's what this is. And it didn't work. And that's because I was using a power brick that didn't work. So when I got the new power brick in, I was like, let me try this using the new thing on the old console. And sure enough, it worked. So I actually have two working Atari 5200s. One of them is just a regular stock Atari 5200 with a new TV adapter. And the other one is this one, which is nice and modded and everything. So, yeah, I have a unbelievably terrible history with screwing up electronics. Like I've ruined motherboards. I have done terrible things just randomly. I have a bad history with screwing up electronics. I've been a lot better about it the past few years, but I do have a bad track record. So that's why I don't mod my own consoles, because I don't understand how to do it. But there's a couple times I did try to do something, and I messed things up pretty bad. The only success story that I have with any kind of modification of a console is once upon a time I had bought a white PS4, and the Bluetooth antenna was like had broken inside. The little wires had broken loose, and I soldered those back on, and then it worked. That's like the only time I've ever done anything successfully messing with the insides, like in a serious way, of a console. So I don't do that stuff. So I'm very grateful for the guy that I bought this from, and also obviously from, Chris Courage, who's done all the mod work for everything that I've needed since then. Thank God. Modded my Atari 7800, my Intellivision, fixed my TurboGrafx CD, did a S-video mod on my PC Engine Duo. Is that it? Is that everything? Oh, and my ColecoVision, and modded my ColecoVision. One day, Chris, we're going to have to figure out how to do something about my Sharp Twin Famicom. I need something. I need a better solution for that. But we'll figure that out. I don't know. I've talked to him. I talked to Chris about that before, and it's a expensive situation, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. But yeah. Anyway. This is S-Video modded Atari 5200. I do have some new games. Like I said, I got Berserk not that long ago, and I got Pitfall finally. And then I've ordered some that are on the way that are probably going to be here, I guess, sometime next week. I'll tell you what they are. Hang on. Da-da-da. One of them, I think, is actually not a retail game, which I didn't realize until after I'd bought it. Asteroids. Asteroids, which it says it, I bought it from Atari Age, apparently, off of eBay. So, apparently Asteroids is not a retail game, which I didn't know. But that's cool, because I want Asteroids for my 5200. Another game I ordered was Dreadnought Factor, which I do have that on the Intellivision, but I don't have it on 5200, and it's one that I've always wanted on 5200, so I ordered that. Gorf. I never had Gorf for 5200. I have that for Intellivision and Atari 2600, so I'm curious to play that. And then Choplifter, for some reason I never bought that. And Vanguard. And Mario Brothers. Why did I never have Mario Brothers for my 5200? That's weird. And the last one that I've got coming for now, anyway, is a replacement of Buck Rogers. For some reason, my Buck Rogers cartridge stopped working. I tried everything. I took that thing apart, cleaned it every which way I can, deoxed it, did everything I can think of. It does not work at all. So, thankfully, that one's $21. So, it was $20 plus shipping. So, not a big deal. I just bought a new cartridge for it. So Buck Rogers is really good. So I was like, I definitely want that game. EJ says, Cyrus, I will give you a fork and a 20 amp outlet. Let's make things happen. Let's take a chance. What's the worst that can happen? You are, how dare you? This is what I get for sharing. How dare you, EJ? Let's change your track record on working on electronics. Yeah, you change your track record, all right. Yeah, I'll be in traction. I'll be laid up for a week. What's up, Down Phoenix? Yes, late streaming. Yes. Down Phoenix says, I assume you already played that Pitfall. No, not yet. I just have been talking. I had to talk about Dabney Coleman passing away because of his relation to the Atari 5200, the Cloak and Dagger game and movie and all that stuff. So I spent a little while talking about that, and then I went through my very personal history with the Atari 5200 console and everything. So we haven't really started to play anything yet. I brought up on archive.com, they have game manuals. They don't have all of them, apparently, but they do have a lot of the 5200 manuals on here. Yeah, we were talking about Pitfall because that is the new game that I just got. It's so weird how they did the scan. I don't know why it's scanned like this. It's a strange way to do it, but it's there. It's just they broke it up strangely. Maybe it's better this way because of the way the instructions are, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? Pitfall. One thing I'll tell you is I noticed on my second controller, it doesn't, like, both of these two controllers that I have up here work pretty well, but my second controller, it's got a little less sensitivity for the analog, especially for when you press down. And I was using it at first when I was playing this, and in order to jump off of the vines, once you leave the vine, you have to press down to get off. And I literally could not get off the vine because it would just not quite go far enough down on the stick. The other controller's fine, but for that second one, I had a little trouble. So, yeah, 5200 controllers are wonky. You got to get some good ones. Plus, when you get them and you start playing, make sure you work them a little bit. Work them so they're nice and loose. Sometimes they need just a little encouragement. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, there's a game that I have that I don't understand how to play called Star Raiders. I think this game is on 2600 also. It's probably on other things as well. The 2600 version, I think, came with its own like little keypad. And you don't need that because this has a keypad built into it. But this game is confusing. Like, this is the instructions. Most instructions that you see for this console are like a couple of pages, 3, 4 pages, 5 or 6 pages maybe. This is 38 pages for this game, Star Raiders. I don't think we're going to be playing this tonight, because if I decide to actually try to play Star Raiders, I have to like read all of this and go through the whole thing, because it's complicated. I mean, it's pretty cool. I'm not saying it's not cool. I just have I don't have their overlay either, which sucks. But I can remember that, you know, I can learn that. But good God, the amount of stuff they have in this game is like, holy moly. Look at all this. It's ridiculous. It's like a board game. I have some friends that we hang out, not every year, but for a while we were doing it every summer, and we would go and stay and play a crap ton of board games. We play like, I don't know, maybe like 10 different board games the whole time we were down there, and card games and stuff. And some of those games, man, it was so complicated trying to learn all the stuff. That's what this is right here. It's like, oh my God. Just want to play a video game. Down Phoenix says, I never played Star Raiders, but Star Master from Activision has similarities to it. Star Master. I know you had to use the switches on the console for playing it too. It's not just the buttons, the 2600 version. Yeah, that's too much, man. I mean, I'm not saying I would never want to play it, you know. I'm not saying it's bad. I bet it's a lot of fun, but you have to really get into it, you know? It's like Dungeons and Dragons or something, you know? You got to really get into it. Downfink says, speaking of board games, the Odyssey 2 had a couple board game type things. I saw one called Quest for the Rings. Seemed pretty wild. You know, I never played Odyssey 2. My dad had an Odyssey 2. I remember I went to visit him one day and I saw an Odyssey 2 boxed up in his closet. And he was like, hey, do you want to play that? And I was like, no. So I never played Odyssey 2. But my dad really liked it. He was kind of disappointed that I didn't want to play it. But I was like, at that time, I was into like TurboGrafx and stuff. Or I might have even been into stuff beyond that at that point. I'm not sure how old I was when that was. But it was, you know, I was way past anything like that. I wasn't playing retro stuff. So, but yeah, it would be interesting to I got to watch some videos on the Odyssey 2 because I don't really know much about it. It's one of those consoles that's just like foreign to me. It's very foreign. River Raid is the greatest vertical shmup ever made. It's pretty damn good. I'll tell you what, this version, the analog control is pretty cool, you know? You get used to playing this game with just digital controls, and when you play it with analog, it's like, oh, wow. It's amazing how these little differences make things, they do make a difference. This is why I buy cartridges for my 5200 instead of just playing the XEGS ROMs off of my flash card for my Atari computer. Because it's the same game basically, but the controls are different, and the controls, they can make a pretty big difference in the experience of the game. Missile Command for sure is like that, and so is Pole Position. Down Phoenix says River Raid is pretty cool for an early game like that. It deserves more props. Yeah, It is really, really good. No, right. I think it's the first video game made by a female developer. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Well, you know what? Let's play some River Raid. How about that? How about we do that? Okay. River Raid. Atari 5200 controller. And here we go. Hopefully I don't die absurdly. Like, it takes a little getting used to as you get started. Do I have the right controller? Yes. Okay. So the speed that you do, the up and down on the stick that controls the speed, it's fully analog. So you can do a little bit or a lot. And of course your controls are analog. Oh, damn it. Damn it. Takes a little getting used to. Oh, crap. I just dived right into the side there. Go this way. Oh, man. Hey, at least it starts me right here. I mean, even though I'm ass at this game, I feel like I have so much more control. Just got to get used to it. Oh, that was close. How dare you? I needed that fuel. War never changes. Oh. That's a badass game. Oh yeah. Good times. Carol Shaw. That's a programmer. Okay. Chinese spy balloon took you out. Damn you, China. All right, we got to play this new Pitfall. You guys, all right, look. Looky here. Looky here now. Bring this up. So, this is my kind of aged Pitfall cartridge for 2600. Little bitty one, but much better shape. For the Intellivision. I love Pitfall. This is the one we played growing up. This is the one that's famous in my family. And this is the 5200 one. Looks totally different. I mean, it's really cool looking artwork. It's a nice cartridge. It's like a big fat version of the Intellivision one, which is, I mean, as far as the shape goes, you know what I'm saying? But like totally different artwork and style and everything. It's just interesting. One thing I'll say about the 5200, there's a certain satisfaction that one gets for putting a cartridge in a system. You either appreciate that or you don't, right? There's something about it that I really like. But not every system is as satisfying, especially for Atari. The cartridge is not, I mean, let's just say this. The 2600 cartridges can kind of be a pain. 7800 is the same type of cartridge, same thing. The Atari Jaguar, same thing. Cartridges are kind of like, is it in there right? Did I, whatever. 5200 has the most satisfying cartridges. Absolutely. It's just something very set. They're easy to get out, easy to put in. Sometimes you do have to blow in them, but very satisfying. All right. Pitfall. Here we go. And it looks different. Pitfall for the 5200 has better graphics. I mean, not like generationally amazing better graphics, but does have better graphics than the other versions. Because the Intellivision and Atari 2600 versions of this game look basically the same. Now, the Coleco version is weird. It's weird. It looks very different. And there's an NES version of Pitfall that's strange as well. But this is regular Pitfall. It's just a little bit better graphics. Plays the same and all that. This Pitfall artwork here definitely is what inspired the 16-bit Pitfall game. Yep, I agree with that. Baz says, I'm pretty sure the 5200 was rushed to market because the ColecoVision put the fear of silicone heaven into Atari. Yeah, I think that's what happened as well. Yeah. Silvering's got 20 minutes to find all the treasures. Yeah. So, obviously, I'm not playing right now to try to get to this whole game. And I suck at Pitfall anyway. But we'll play a little bit. We'll play. So it's funny, the bottom button jumps straight up, and the top button jumps you forward like that. But you can still jump forward, you just have to use the stick using the bottom button. I don't know if that makes sense, but so I just use the bottom button, and that way I feel like I'm having more control over what I'm trying to do. The infamous crocodiles. I was getting killed by these earlier. I don't know. Sometimes I get it and it's no problem, and sometimes it's a problem. Oop, hang on. See, this is not a game that really benefits from the analog. It still uses, I mean, obviously the stick's analog, but I think the controls for this are actually digital. Ouch. Look at that snake. Oh, damn it. So you can see the graphics are almost the same, but there is a little bit more detail. And you can pause this game, like pretty much every 5200 game, because you have a pause button. How about that? Take some notes, Sega Master System. Definitely NES is Super Pitfall. It's a different game. Yeah. It's a weird game. Tarzan Scream, yes. Chris says, reminds me of that South Park episode where the priest has to get to the Vatican archives. I don't think I've seen that one. I haven't watched a lot of South Park in quite a while. Sewing's in Live and Let Die. A guy actually ran across 3 crocodiles. Oh, they were tied down. Wow. I think I remember that. I think I remember seeing that. Live and Let Die. That was a Paul McCartney song. I like the Guns N' Roses version, but you know. Oh, whoa! I took it backwards. You know, sometimes you gotta take it how you can get it. Anyway, I was gonna say I'm a big fan of Guns N' Roses, the old school Guns N' Roses. So, but you know, what are you gonna do? Paul McCartney's Paul McCartney. He's the guy that he's the man. He's the man. So I don't know. I mean, do I prefer this version over the 2600 or Intellivision version? Graphically, yeah, this is better. But it's the same game. I mean, there's nothing different about the gameplay, really. It's just a little bit of enhancement. Is it harder to control because it's analog? Well, the Intellivision version is hard to control anyway because of the disc. So I don't know about that, but the 2600, depending on how you're like, if you're using a regular 2600 joystick, that's kind of hard to control as well. So I mean, I don't know, man. Oh crap, I messed that up. See, controls. But I have like you can use a Genesis controller or a special controller for your Atari 2600 version. And then I think that's probably the best way to play it. Although, like I said, this one's got some bells and whistles. Some new polish, some fine polish they've added. Obviously, I'm not going to beat this. I'm just goofing around. Damon says, when I had Atari, I used my Genesis. Yeah, Genesis controller for sure. Genesis controller works great for 2600. It's not for 7800. And it doesn't work for this either, because this is a totally different type of controller. Alright, Pitfall. See? There it is. Whoop, whoop, there it is. So currently, I'll just kind of go through what I have, the games that I have, because I'm waiting on those. I was telling you earlier, those different games that I ordered that have not come in yet. Bring this up here. Anyway, okay. The games I'm waiting on is my replacement for Buck Rogers, so I'm waiting on that. And then Mario Brothers, uh, Vanguard, I couldn't read it. Choplifter, Gorf, the 5200 version of Gorf. Can't wait to play that. And then the Dreadnought Factor, which I do have on Intellivision, and it's fantastic, but the 5200 version of Dreadnought Factor is probably a lot better. And then, of course, the last one that I ordered is Asteroids, which is not a retail game. It's like a homebrew game, I guess, but I didn't realize that. But I'm cool with that. I just want to play it, you know. I'm cool with it. Chris is. Oh, I see. Chris put this South Park thing. That's funny. Check out my Discord, people, if you have not. Yep, you can watch that. All right. Anyway, so all right, Pitfall, and then Pitfall 2. Hubert. Sometimes these ones, like, they're kind of open, so you kind of have to clean these more often. See if that's good enough. Maybe. Yeah, there it is. Hubert. I'm not gonna play it. I just want to show that real quick. Frogger. I looked at buying Frogger 2, but it was really expensive, so I did not buy it. But I thought about it. It was just too much. But I did see one. Oh, I remember why I didn't buy it. There was some that were too much. There was one that was affordable on eBay, but it was all messed up. Like, they said that the case was broken. You would have to take the cartridge out. Oop. This one's dirty. Dirty Frogger. Anyway, they said the case was broken and you'd have to, like, take the actual game, the card out of the game and replace it with a different one. I was like, okay, it's not what I want to do. How is Pitfall 2? I've never seen Pitfall 2. It's very interesting. It's got save spots. It's weird. It has scrolling. It's pretty cool. I'll show it to you in a second. Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you. Didn't realize you had your Discord open. No, it's cool, dude. It's fine. The Discord is part of everything we're doing. I'm glad that you did that. Thank you. Baz says, is Frogger on the 5200? You have to press a direction, then fire. Oh, yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up. So yeah, we'll start Frogger here. Bring that down. So what you do is you hold down the button and press the direction. Like that. And then you die like that. Well, shit. What am I doing wrong? Oh, it's the opposite. I'm sorry. You press the direction and then you press the button. I think you said that. I think you're right. It's confusing me. Yeah, if you just do that, it actually works really well. Except I suck. Wow, really? Okay. kind of a strange way to do it, but I guess it lets you aim your guy before you actually move. I don't know if that's ideal or not. Oh, that was not good. Oops. Wow, I missed it. Wow, wow, wow. Frogger. I mean, on 5600, not in general. I'm familiar with the 2600 version. That has to be the worst Frogger gameplay I've seen. Oh. Go fuck yourself. How about that, Down Phoenix? Yeah, it is the worst. Wow, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? I was thinking about getting criticized by Down Phoenix. Pressure's on, getting higher. Difference is, you stay drier. Yeah, 200, 200. See if I can pull this off. Yay, we did it! Are you happy? Did I make Down Phoenix happy? Well, I got my... Okay, well, good night, Down Phoenix. We appreciate you coming by. Thank you. All right, anyway. That's Frogger. Joust. Pole position, like I was saying earlier. Jungle Hunt. That's a good one. Popeye. It's a good version of Popeye. You like Popeye? Who doesn't like Popeye? Maybe. Good. It's a good version of Popeye. Oh, crap. I got stuck. Ah, I was hitting the wrong button. That's the button I was trying to hit. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All day, every day. All right. Anyway. Okay, well, I think we'll stop. I think that's good enough. I talked a long time. I played a little bit. Mainly talked. Good night, sweet prince, Mr. Dabney Coleman, 92 years old. You will be missed. We in the Atari 5200 fandom will definitely miss you and your contributions to movie making. So anyway, guys, y'all take care. Have a good night. I definitely appreciate you coming to hang out. Popeye is the man, absolutely. Yep. See you later, Silver Wings. Baz fans, hot hits, no joust. Don't worry, we're not doing that. We're ending things. Down Phoenix, thank you for coming to hang out with us and share your enthusiastic support. Chris Courage, thank you for being here. I definitely appreciate you, sir. Always, as always. Who else? Anybody else show up? EJ Hilt was here. Thank you, EJ. And it's probably it. If I missed you, I'm sorry. We'll catch you next time. Pretty tired. Yes, you too. Have a good one. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for hanging out. This was fun. So, yep. Maybe we'll do more Atari stuff. I'm probably gonna wait till next week because I want to get my new cartridges in, and then I'll probably do I'll probably do videos because it's hard. I can't really play games on a stream. If I do play games on a stream, I can't really concentrate on what I'm doing, and God knows I have to concentrate because when I play and I don't concentrate, we get things like this. Wow, that is the worst Frogger gameplay I've seen. And it was bad. So anyway, but we'll do streams. I'll probably do couch streams playing nonsense over there. Videos for the retro stuff. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyway, guys, y'all take care. Have a great night. I appreciate you, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.